Important. Please note that the selection criteria slide 11 and performance measures slide 18 were changed after the pre-recording of this webinar. As a result, these slides were removed from the video. You can refer to the new slides in the handouts to accompany AIVRS pre-application webinar located at the RSA Grant Info page on NCRTM for the updated selection criteria and performance measures. Select Show More in the description of this video for the web address for the RSA Grant Info page.
Welcome to the American Indian Vocational Rehabilitation Services pre-application webinar. My name is Jessica Lugg, one of the program officers for the American Indian Vocational Rehabilitation Services, AIVRS program, and I am the moderator for this presentation. This pre-recorded informational webinar is designed to provide technical assistance to interested applicants for grants under the Rehabilitation Services Administration's RSA AIVRS program competition under CFDA 84-250M. Specifically, this webinar is designed to highlight pertinent information from the Notice Inviting Applications, NIA, to assist the applicant's understanding of this competition. The recording is designed to supplement the relevant material associated with the competition for which you are applying. Please note that the competition will contain an application kit that will provide additional information about the program. This recording is in addition to a general pre-application webinar. We invite all prospective applicants to access this recording along with their teams responsible for developing program and financial components of the application. This is an on-demand recording to help prepare applicants for the AIVRS 84-250M grant competition in the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services, OSERS, Rehabilitative Services Administration, RSA office. It will include a brief overview of what is contained in the entire application kit, a more detailed review of the NIA, and additional information and resources. The application kit is divided into 10 sections, A through J. The application transmittal instructions, application abstract instructions, application forms, important notices to all applicants, and the additional information sections are all covered in further detail in the general pre-application webinar. The first section is the Dear Applicant letter, which introduces the purpose of the program and highlights some important aspects of the competition in the program. Immediately after the Dear Applicant letter is the NIA, which we will go over in detail in this recording. After the NIA is the selection criteria for the application. The Secretary uses the selection criteria taken from 34 CFR 75-210 to evaluate applications for new grants. Following the selection criteria is the special application requirements for the AIVRS program grants that can be found in 34 CFR 371.21A through K. We will discuss this in some detail in this webinar. The program statute and regulation section is next in the kit. In the application transmittal instructions section of the kit, there are specific instructions on submission procedures as well as helpful reminders. Please review this section closely. The following section is the application abstract instructions. A one-page project abstract is required with the application. The next section is the application forms. This includes instructions for the Federal Assistance Application page, SF 424, the Budget Narrative, Ed 524, the Program Narrative, the Grant Application Form for Project Objectives and Performance Measures information, and the Assurances, Certifications, and Disclosures. Section I lists the important notices to all applicants. The notices include a new provision in the Department of Education's General Education Provisions Act, GEPA. Section 427 of GEPA affects applicants for new grant awards under this program. This section also includes the estimated burden statement for GEPA requirements and the program performance measures under the Government Performance and Results Act, GPRA. Finally, Section J has additional information, the applicant checklist, common questions and answers, program application indirect cost instructions, and DUNS instructions are included in these pages. Please review each of these sections thoroughly and contact the competition manager with any questions. The purpose of this program is to provide vocational rehabilitation VR services, including culturally appropriate services to American Indians with disabilities who reside on or near federal or state reservations, consistent with such eligible individuals' strengths, resources, priorities, concerns, abilities, capabilities, interests, and informed choice, so that such individual may prepare for and engage in high-quality employment that will increase opportunities for economic self-sufficiency. In making new awards under this program, RSA gives priority to applications for the continuation of programs that have been previously funded under the AIVRS program. An additional 5 points are awarded to an application that meets this priority. This type of award is a discretionary grant. There is an estimated $21,265,000 available, and we estimate the number of awards at 42. The project period is up to 60 months. Contingent upon the availability of funds and the quality of applications, we may make additional awards in fiscal year 2020 from the list of unfunded applications from this competition. The department is not bound by any estimates in this notice. Applications may be made only by Indian tribes and consortia of those Indian tribes located on federal and state reservations. The definition of Indian tribe in Section 719B of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, as amended, is any federal or state Indian tribe, band, rancheria, pueblo, colony, or community, including any Alaskan Native village or regional village corporation as defined in or established pursuant to the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, and a tribal organization as defined in Section 4.1 of the Indian Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act. Reservation is defined in 34 CFR 371.6 as a federal or state Indian reservation, public domain Indian allotment, former Indian reservation in Oklahoma, land held by incorporated Native groups, regional corporations and village corporations under the provisions of the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, or a defined area of land recognized by a state or the federal government where there is a concentration of tribal members and on which the tribal government is providing structured activities and services. The applicant for an AIVRS grant must be the governing body of an Indian tribe, either on behalf of the Indian tribe or on behalf of a consortium of Indian tribes, or a tribal organization that is a separate legal organization that is not a governing body of an Indian tribe. In order to receive an AIVRS grant, a tribal organization that is not a governing body of an Indian tribe must have as one of its functions the vocational rehabilitation of American Indians with disabilities and have the approval of the tribe to be served by such organization. If a grant is made to the governing body of an Indian tribe, either on its own behalf or on behalf of a consortium, or to a tribal organization to perform services benefiting more than one Indian tribe, the approval of each such Indian tribe shall be a prerequisite to the making of such a grant. Cost sharing or matching is the portion of the project/program cost not borne by the federal government. The terms are used interchangeably, and for this program refer to the statutorily specified percentage of 10% of the total project cost for the project that must be contributed by a grant applicant in order to be eligible for funding. Any and all cost sharing promised by the grantee in its application must be fully documented and accounted for in the grantee's expenditure records and reports. Applications submitted for funding must include the specific costs or contributions proposed to meet the matching or cost-sharing requirement, the source of the cost-sharing, and, in the case of in-kind contributions, a description of how the value was determined for the donated or contributed services or goods. See the included link to RSA's management information system that may help you calculate your match. A grantee under this competition may not award subgrants to entities to directly carry out project activities described in its application. While subgrants are not permitted, under 34 CFR 371.42a, grantees are permitted to provide the vocational rehabilitation services by contract or otherwise enter into an agreement with a designated state unit, a community rehabilitation program, or another agency to assist in the implementation of the tribal vocational rehabilitation program, as long as such arrangement is identified in the application. For information on how to submit an application, please refer to our common instructions for applicants to Department of Education discretionary grant programs published in the Federal Register, available at the link listed, which contain requirements and information on how to submit an application. This information is also detailed in the general pre-application webinar. We remind potential applicants that in reviewing applications in any discretionary grant competition, the Secretary may consider, under 34 CFR 75-217-D3, the past performance of the applicant in carrying out a previous award, such as the applicant's use of funds, achievement of project objectives, and compliance with grant conditions. The Secretary may also consider whether the applicant failed to submit a timely performance report or submitted a report of unacceptable quality. In addition, in making a competitive grant award, the Secretary requires various assurances, including those applicable to federal civil rights laws that prohibit discrimination in programs or activities receiving federal financial assistance from the Department. Consistent with 2 CFR 200-205, before awarding grants under this competition, the Department conducts a review of the risk posed by applicants. Under 2 CFR 347410, the Secretary may impose specific conditions and, in appropriate circumstances, high-risk conditions on a grant if the applicant or grantee is not financially stable, has a history of unsatisfactory performance, has a financial or other management system that does not meet the standards in 2 CFR Part 200, Subpart D, has not fulfilled the conditions of a prior grant, or is otherwise not responsible. Applicants for the AIVRS program grant must provide assurances that they will meet the special application requirements stated at 34 CFR 371.21 A through K. Each application will be reviewed by the Department of Education to determine whether the applicant has provided the required assurances. Listed in the application kit are these special application requirements at 34 CFR 371.21 A through K, explanatory notes, and instructions for the content of the required assurance statements. You must provide the assurance statements in a separate section of your application entitled Special Application Requirements. If you are selected under this competition to receive an award that over the course of the project period may exceed the simplified acquisition threshold, currently $250,000, under 2 CFR 200-205 A2, we must make a judgment about your integrity, business ethics, and record of performance under federal awards. That is, the risk posed by you as an applicant before we make an award. In doing so, we must consider any information about you that is in the Integrity and Performance System, currently referred to as the Federal Awardee Performance and Integrity Information System, FAPIIS, accessible through the System of Award Management. You may review and comment on any information about yourself that a federal agency previously entered and that is currently in FAPIIS. Please note, if the total value of your currently active grants, cooperative agreements, and procurement contracts from the federal government exceeds $10 million, the reporting requirements in 2 CFR Part 200, Appendix 12 require you to report certain integrity information to FAPIIS semi-annually. Please review the requirements in 2 CFR 200, Appendix 12 if this grant plus all other federal funds you received exceed $10 million. If your application is successful, we will notify your U.S. representative and U.S. senators and send you a grant award notification, GAN, or we may send an email containing a link to access an electronic version of your GAN. We may also notify you informally. If your application is not evaluated or not selected for funding, we notify you. We identify administrative and national policy requirements in the application package and reference these and other requirements in the applicable regulations section of this notice. We reference the regulations outlining the terms and conditions of an award in the applicable regulations section of this notice and include these and other specific conditions in the GAN. The GAN also incorporates your approved application as part of your binding commitments under the grant. If you apply for a grant under this competition, you must ensure that you have in place the necessary processes and systems to comply with the reporting requirements in 2 CFR Part 170 should you receive funding under the competition. This does not apply if you have an exemption under 2 CFR 170-110B. At the end of your project period, you must submit a final performance report, including financial information, as directed by the Secretary. If you receive a multi-year award, you must submit an annual performance report that provides the most current performance and financial expenditure information as directed by the Secretary under 34 CFR 75-118. The Secretary may also require more frequent performance reports under 34 CFR 75-720C. In making a continuation award under 34 CFR 75-253, the Secretary considers, among other things, whether a grantee has made substantial progress in achieving the goals and objectives of the project, whether the grantee has expended funds in a manner that is consistent with its approved application and budget, and if the Secretary has established performance measurement requirements, the performance targets in the grantee's approved application. In making a continuation award, the Secretary also considers whether the grantee is operating in compliance with the assurances in its approved application, including those applicable to federal civil rights laws that prohibit discrimination in programs or activities receiving federal financial assistance from the Department. Individuals with disabilities can obtain this document and a copy of the application package in an accessible format on request to the program contact person listed. The official version of this document is in the document published in the Federal Register. This page contains informational recordings and accompanying handouts for applicants interested in applying for discretionary grants funded through the Rehabilitation Services Administration, RSA. Please note the section on general information for RSA discretionary grant competitions includes 4 recordings and an accompanying handout highlighting pertinent information that generally applies across discretionary grant programs funded through RSA. The program authority and applicable regulations are important to understand allowable and unallowable activities and costs under the AIVRS program for which you are applying. The time of the application deadline is 11:59:59 p.m. Eastern Time on the application deadline date. This allows all applicants, no matter where they are located, to have a full business day to submit their application. Assistance from the principal office staff is available until 5 p.m. Eastern Time on the application deadline date. Register early. Grants.gov may take 5 or more business days to complete. Submit early. Don't wait until the last day to submit your application. Grants.gov will put a date timestamp on your application and then process it after it is fully uploaded. Verify that submission was accepted. Verify that Grants.gov received your submission on time and that it was validated successfully. August Martin is the competition manager for this grant competition. Please contact him with any questions. If you use a telecommunications device for the deaf or a text telephone, call the Federal Relay Service.